Welcome to episode 457 of AI Brief. I'm Amin.
And I'm Leah.
Today we're doing a deep dive into some massive shifts happening across the industry right now. We're going to cover the new ARC-AGI test that is basically stumping every single frontier model out there.
Right. Plus, we're looking into Reddit's new operational crackdown on automated bots, which, interestingly enough, skips mass identity checks.
Yeah, and then we're breaking down a really huge technical breakthrough from Google. They figured out how to drastically shrink AI model memory with zero loss in accuracy.
It's a packed agenda, and honestly, the contrast between where we think this technology is and where it actually stands today is, well, it's pretty fascinating.
It really is. So let's just jump right into this new benchmark. Francois Chalet's ARC Prize Foundation just released version 3 of their interactive reasoning test. It's called ARC-AGI-3.
Right, and for context, the whole industry has been boasting for the last year that we're basically on the doorstep of artificial general intelligence.
Exactly. But this test is a huge reality check. The premise of it is honestly brilliant in how simple it is. You get these game-like visual grid scenarios, but with zero instructions.
Oh, like no prompt telling the AI what to actually do?
Nothing. Imagine you're shown a grid of colored squares, right? Like 3 blue squares in a row, and then in the next frame, they turn red. As a human being, you just instantly intuit the rule.
You just know, okay, change the blue to red.
Right. It's trivial for us. Humans score 100% on their very first try. But for the top AI models, they are hitting an absolute brick wall. I mean, Gemini Pro is currently leading the pack, and it's sitting at a success rate of just 0.37%.
Wow. I mean, that is basically a rounding error from zero.
It gets worse. GPT 5.4 high hit 0.26%, Opus 4.6 got 0.25%, and Grok 4.2 Lyra scored a flat 0%.
Wait, literally zero? How is that even possible when these are the exact same models passing the uniform bar exam in seconds? Or writing like super complex Python code?
Right. So think about it like booting up a brand new video game. You're dropped into this virtual world, but there's no tutorial. There's no instruction manual or heads-up display.
You just have to figure it out on the fly.
Exactly. As a human, you start experimenting. You walk around, you press a button to see if you jump, you learn the physics of the world, you discover the rules, and formulate a strategy entirely from scratch because you have genuine reasoning skills.
But current AI models don't have that. They operate more like a player who just memorized a highly specific walkthrough guide for a game.
Exactly. If the game throws a totally novel puzzle at them, one that wasn't in their training data or the walkthrough, the whole brute force method just shatters. They freeze.
And this comes down to the fundamental difference between memorization and actual reasoning. Like, the bar exam is a static test. The logic needed to pass it is heavily represented in the millions of pages of data these models have ingested.
They've effectively seen it before.
Right. But these ARC puzzles are explicitly designed to be entirely novel. The answers just aren't in past data. And this is vital to understand, especially because there's a $1 million prize attached to this test.
Oh, labs are paying very close attention to that.
Absolutely. Because look at what happened with version 2. When ARC-AGI-2 dropped, the scores were hovering around 3%. But within a single year, Frontier Labs poured millions of dollars of compute into training models specifically to beat it.
And they push those scores up to around 50%.
Yes, which looks super impressive on a chart. It creates this illusion that the systems are getting drastically smarter.
But the real question is whether that was genuine reasoning or just, an incredibly expensive memorization tactic.
Exactly. Chalet built version 3 specifically to answer that. So when these models inevitably improve their scores over the next 6 months, the whole industry will be watching to see if they actually learned how to reason this time, or if labs just found a more expensive way to pattern match.
Well, the crazy part is that this inability to perform genuine reasoning hasn't slowed down the deployment of these systems at all. In fact, this massive push to build autonomous agents, which are the very systems failing this ARC test, has directly caused an explosion of automated bots completely flooding the open web.
Oh, it's wild. Social platforms are being forced to adapt their fundamental infrastructure just to survive the sheer volume of this synthetic traffic.
Which brings us to Reddit. CEO Steve Huffman just outlined this comprehensive new plan to separate human users from bots. And the approach is really layered.
How so? Like, are they just banning all bots?
No, actually. If an account is running automation in an approved, constructive way, like, say, a bot that just summarizes sports scores, it's going to get a specific label that says app.
Okay, that makes sense for the helpful bots.
Right. But if an account starts displaying suspicious behavior, it hits a verification wall. Reddit is going to offer passkeys or Sam Altman's World ID scanner to confirm proof of humanity.
Oh, interesting. So they're avoiding government IDs.
Mostly, yeah. They're keeping traditional government ID checks as an absolute last resort, only using them where local laws explicitly require it.
Which is smart because relying on government IDs creates massive friction for users. Passkeys, which just use the biometric sensors already in your phone, offer a much smoother way to verify that a physical human is actually holding the device.
But here's the thing. Reddit isn't actually banning AI-written content. Huffman basically just called it annoying and is leaving it up to the individual subcommunities to self-police and set their own rules.
That seems risky.
Right. I mean, is the community self-policing actually a viable defense mechanism?
Hmm.
Especially when we're looking at data from Cloudflare showing that automated web traffic is on pace to completely surpass human traffic by 2027.
I don't think it is viable long term. We actually have a very recent case study that answers that. The rival platform Dig recently folded, and the primary catalyst was that it was entirely overrun by automated bots.
It just couldn't survive the spam.
Exactly. But, the dead internet theory used to just be this speculative idea, this concept that you're mostly arguing with algorithms online rather than real people. But it's no longer a theory. It's the daily operational reality for every major platform administrator right now.
So these verification walls and labels, they feel like a temporary Band-Aid, but they are absolutely necessary. If platforms don't solve this bot problem, their sites literally just cease to be usable for actual human beings.
And there's another massive side to this issue. Managing this exploding volume of synthetic content requires an unfathomable amount of computing power.
Oh, the server costs must be astronomical.
They are. As AI models process these longer conversations and keep running logs of millions of automated interactions, their storage footprint just balloons. This massive memory requirement slows down response times and drives operational costs through the roof.
Which is exactly the problem Google just figured out how to solve.
Yeah.
Google Research introduced a new algorithm called TurboQuant, and it's a massive technical breakthrough in how artificial intelligence handles its internal memory.
What kind of numbers are we talking about here?
So it compresses AI model memory by over 6 times. And it does this without requiring any retraining of the model itself.
To understand why that is such a big deal, you have to look at quantization, which is essentially reducing the precision of the numbers the AI uses to do math.
Right, like rounding numbers to save space.
Exactly. Imagine you have to remember the value of pi. Memorizing 3.14159 takes more mental effort than just remembering 3.14. So by rounding, you save space. But normally when an AI model reduces precision to save memory, it loses accuracy. It starts hallucinating or forgetting key details.
But the breakthrough with TurboQuant is that they achieve this extreme compression with almost zero loss in accuracy.
Wait, so they're packing the data tighter, but the AI doesn't have to unpack it to read it. How does that physically work on the chip?
It comes down to how the algorithm structures the data for the hardware. Think of it like hypercompressing a massive zip file full of encyclopedias.
Okay, I'm with you.
Normally, to find a single sentence about, say, a rare species of bird, the computer has to unpack that entire zip file first. That takes a massive amount of memory and time. But TurboQuant allows the processor to instantly read and perfectly locate that single detail hidden deep inside the compressed file without ever unpacking it.
That is incredible. The performance metrics on that must be staggering.
They really are. Running on NVIDIA H100 chips, this compression delivers up to 8 times faster processing speeds without adding a single cent to the operational cost. The models still score perfectly on those needle-in-a-haystack tests where they have to find one buried detail in a massive block of text.
And the financial ripple effect of this paper has been immediate. I mean, when this research officially dropped, the top AI memory companies saw their stock prices drop between 3 and 5% in a single day.
Wow, in one day.
Yeah, and this paper is scheduled to be formally presented at ICLR 2026 in April. It also topped rival methods in vector search, which is the tech that search engines rely on to rapidly match similar results.
I mean, a single compression paper isn't going to completely crater global memory demand overnight. But that rapid stock sell-off is a huge market signal. Wall Street is actively pricing in a future where smarter software eats directly into the premium costs of AI memory hardware.
Software optimization is absolutely beginning to outpace hardware brute force.
Okay, let's actually slow down for a minute. The sheer volume of news today is a lot, so I want to take a more measured look at everything else happening across the broader landscape, because
Yeah.
when you step back, you really start to see the scale of capital reshaping the ecosystem this week.
I completely agree. It's important to look at the practical deployments. Starting with Anthropic, they've significantly expanded Claude's mobile capabilities.
Oh, the app updates.
Yes, you can now access major workplace tools like Figma, Canva, and Amplitude directly from your phone through the Claude interface. And what's crazy is this represents their third major release in just 1 week.
Right, following the computer use feature,
Mm.
where Claude can actually control your desktop screen.
Exactly, and auto mode, where the system decides which actions to automatically approve without human intervention. The pace of integration into daily workflows is accelerating dramatically.
And over in the enterprise sector, the focus is shifting entirely to practical application. Oracle just announced a data deep dive event taking place in New York City on April 10th.
That's the hands-on one, right?
Yeah, they are moving way past theoretical pitches. They're offering hands-on AI labs and direct access to Oracle's internal experts specifically to help with large-scale enterprise deployment.
Meanwhile, on the financial side, the scale of capital moving into this space just continues to shatter historical records. OpenAI is currently raising an additional $10 billion.
$10 billion, that pushes their overall valuation past, what, the $120 billion mark?
Past 120 billion, yes. Major institutional players are joining this round, including Microsoft, Andreessen Horowitz, and T. Rowe Price. We're well past standard venture capital at this point. This is nation-state level capitalization.
It really is. Moving over to generative media, Google just completed a major upgrade to its music AI. The new Lyria 3 Pro model can now generate full, structured, 3-minute songs.
And these aren't just ambient loops anymore, are they?
No, not at all. They include distinct intros, verses, and choruses. Google is deploying this capability really widely, rolling it out across Gemini, Vertex AI, and Google Vids.
The concept of automation is also moving up the stack into meta creation. Brett Taylor's company, Sierra, just launched a product called Ghostwriter.
I saw this. It's an AI agent explicitly designed to build other AI agents.
Exactly. It allows companies to instantly spin up and deploy customer service bots that operate across voice and chat in over 30 distinct languages. We're literally seeing software capable of staffing entire virtual departments on demand.
That's incredible. And finally, we are seeing some real governmental action regarding workforce adaptation. The U.S. Department of Labor has officially launched a program called Make America AI Ready.
This is the upskilling course.
Yeah, it's a free 7-day AI literacy course. And to maximize accessibility, the entire curriculum is delivered directly to citizens over text messages. Delivering it through SMS ensures that people aren't left behind just because they lack broadband internet or a laptop.
That is a remarkably practical approach. And, with that kind of enterprise capital flooding the space and consumer behavior shifting so rapidly, the tools hitting the market this week are more powerful than ever.
Let's actually transition over to that. Moving from the broader news, let's look at the actual toolkit you can use right now, depending on your specific workflow.
If you are working in media, research, or content creation, there are 3 major releases you really should explore. First is Lyria 3 Pro. This is Google's upgraded music model we just mentioned. You can use it when you need to generate structured, full-length music tracks for videos without dealing with complex licensing hurdles.
Next up for the researchers out there is MamaWeb. This is an open-source web agent built by AI too. You can deploy it to navigate and browse the internet completely autonomously.
So if you need to monitor competitor pricing pages or gather research across dozens of tabs, you just hand that entirely over to this agent.
Exactly. Then we have Uni 1. This is a new unified model from Luma. Its primary use case is reasoning and generating content seamlessly across both text and images in a single workflow.
Which is incredibly useful for dynamic content creation. For the developers and software engineers, you're going to want to look at Cursor's new release, Composer 2.
That's the coding model, right?
Yes, it's an incredibly powerful coding model. Use it for cost-effective software building and really deep programming assistance when you are navigating complex legacy code bases.
Also in the development space is Replic's newest feature set. You can use this to build complete functional web and mobile applications from scratch using only simple text prompts. It drastically lowers the barrier to entry for software creation.
And if you need a web presence immediately, you should look at Scalify. Use it to fully generate, design, and deploy your own functional websites in under 10 minutes. It handles the entire pipeline from design to hosting.
For growth and outreach, there is Fastlane. Use this tool to instantly create viral marketing content and promotional material tailored specifically for your product's target demographic.
Finally, for extended, complicated workflows, explore Zeus. It's a highly autonomous agent. You use it to offload and finish complex, long-duration tasks that require multiple steps and constant monitoring over hours or even days.
The sheer velocity of the advancements we've covered today is staggering. We are watching the foundational infrastructure of the internet shift in real time to accommodate automated traffic, while the actual algorithms powering that traffic become drastically more efficient.
Right, in how they utilize memory and compute. But despite all this rapid commercialization and the deployment of these powerful tools, the ultimate goal of genuine human-level reasoning still remains elusive.
Yeah, the multi-billion-dollar models powering this revolution are still failing that fundamental test, waking up in an unfamiliar environment and figuring out the rules from scratch.
Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to ponder. If machines eventually do pass the ARC reasoning test without brute forcing it, will we finally admit they can actually think? Or will we just move the goalposts again and invent an even harder test to prove human superiority?
It's a massive question. If you want to stay ahead of this curve and understand both the breakthroughs and the bottlenecks, be sure to follow and share the podcast. See you in the next episode.